In 2011, we commemorate 150 years since Lincoln assumed office and the nation began the Great War to test the national resolve to preserve our Union under the principles of equality enshrined in our Constitution. While we may never fully realize the ideal of our commitment, no nation has worked harder, spent more, suffered more, and railed from pulpit to post to assure that Dr. King's prayer, that my children will be judged not by the color of their skin, but the content of their character, be realized in our lifetime. I believe the next 18 months may well provide the greatest challenge to our nation since that awful war. President Lincoln noted, America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. Those words are eerily relevant. To be victorious in our time of testing, we must put old battles behind us. We will conquer that which threatens to undermine us together as one nation, one people, or we will succumb, defeated by our own human frailties and misguided belief that our solutions lie in one-size-fits-all governmental action. We cannot leave Washington to solve our problems. Our existential threats are simply too fundamental, too important, too close to home to leave to a dysfunctional national government. To begin our recovery, we must renew that patriotic sense of personal responsibility and self-sacrifice that characterized our founding generations. We must discover within the moral and religious citizenry that knows what has to be done, and we need to find representatives that will give us the government respectful of our rights we require. We will succeed not as beneficiaries of actions of a collective in Washington seeking to retain its perks, but in rediscovery of national character and a determination to return to the road mapped out for us by our forefathers. My writing in the past 6 years has been focused on national policy development. I've pretty much written on the X and O's of every significant national issue in Congress or the administration during this time. I've come to realize that they just aren't going to be solved by piling up more power in Washington. The dynamic independence of state governments has been sadly eroded by misuse of the Commerce Clause to make them vassals of the federal government. That needs to be changed as the first action of an energized electorate. Most problems either begin in Washington or languish and get worse there. We just aren't going to solve our problems in developing responsible national policy until we fix what is wrong with us at the grassroots. The issues that separate us from our representatives are truly basic to the functioning of the country and are not likely to be addressed prior to our national election almost 18 months away. Our government in Washington is almost as detached from us as was the government of George III in London for our ancestors. Under the loose and regionally diverse leadership of local Tea Party groups around the country in 2010, we saw a down payment on the sustained level of grassroots involvement required to turn us from our doomsday run. It is for us to join in this effort in 2011 and 2012 to assure it has the broadest possible consensus in positioning its rudder and pushing hard to get us back on track.